Go ahead.
Good afternoon. It is 1:02 Wednesday, August 20th. Welcome to the Health and Human Services Committee.
I think you just mute. Okay.
Is there any changes to the agenda? No? Do we have any public comment?
No.
No public comment. Can I get the minutes approved from July 16th? Do I have a Randy moves? Amanda seconds. Appointments. We do have one appointment.
You want to vote?
Oh, that's right. Am I zeal to be like Amanda and get this thing going? I'm skipping parts. We do have to vote on the minutes. All those in favor of approving the minutes?
We'll do a roll call. We have Dan on.
Oh, Dan's on. We have to do a roll call.
Oh, Dan's on Zoom.
Randy?
Yes.
Dan? Shauna?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
And I'm a yes, so that approves unanimously. We do have an advisory board appointment. Community Mental Health Services Board, Jacob Parker Carver, at-large member. Term expires December 31st, 2027. Do I have a mover? Shauna moves. Amanda seconds. And we have to do a roll call. Dan?
Yes.
Randy?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Shauna?
Yes.
And I'm a yes, so that's unanimous. I did forget to say in the beginning that we do have a topic for exec session. So we'll do that at the end and we won't come back to meet after that's over. County Administrator's Report, Corsa.
Yeah, thank you. I don't have a lot to report on. We're preparing for the next Go Blue season. We are evaluating our options and planning for the season, which is due to kick in end of mid-November. So we are in the process. We also closing in on service provider to partner with us to get a shelter developed. We are hoping that we can get a contract complete by the end of this month and get an announcement moving on that in that direction as well. And that's the two things we're working on related to this committee. So yes.
I do have a question, and that is there any updates for the Office of Human Rights?
Yes. So I'm working with human resource in the job description review. I intend sending a communication to you all this coming couple of weeks before the next committee meeting. We'll have a clear direction of which way to go, and yeah. So that's where we are, and I intend bringing all of you in terms of discussing the next steps and some of the expectations that need to come in as we look to get that position filled and get the office moving and getting a few things done together as well. So.
All right, thank you. Any other questions for Corsa? No? All right. We are going to go right to whole health. We have a resolution, and after that, you can give their report. Jeremy.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yep, we do have a resolution. This is all around the opioid settlement funds and sort of contract years. So this is really a correction because we started with this funding in the middle of last year. And at that point, it was unclear how to budget for the new contract going into this year. So it's not county funding here. It's just a correction to align us with the RFP that was returned so that we can pay out the contract for the rest of this year. That's really all it is for that one.
Okay, so let me do this way. Resolution budget adjustment, whole health department, opioid settlement funds, ID 13481. Do I have a mover? Second? All right. Is there any questions for Jeremy?
Yeah, I got a question.
Yep, Randy.
Yeah, Jeremy, so this funds Catholic Charities through the end of this year, is that, and then is there funding for them next year, or is that going to be the end of it?
No, this is multi-year. I'm sorry, I was just scrolling through here to see what. I can get you the exact amount for next year. If you'd like, I could follow up with the exact amount for that, but I do believe it goes into next year.
Yeah, I was just curious how long it was going to go and whatnot, but thanks.
Shauna?
Yeah, I wanted to ask a question in regards to the amount. So the amount of funds that has gone to Catholic Charities is 120,000, is that right?
The 120,000 is the adjustment.
Okay.
So this was written up. The total allocated went from, it was at 246. Now it's going to 366 in total. So that's the adjustment we're making, is the total amount, not necessarily what they've been paid.
Okay. So I see that they've served 10 clients. How much has that cost for the 10 clients?
So that was at the end of 2024. And we've been working on the new data and the new contract. And we wanted to just get this on the books to make the correction. I'll be honest, I would need to get you a little more information. They didn't provide that to me yet. Okay. But I can get you all that information for sure, the expense per client and everything.
Okay, was this through the opioid task force or was it through the mental health services board?
So this is the LGU, so it's through the, it was approved by our board.
Okay, gotcha. And is there accountability for those that received funds through the LGU? Or are they reporting back to the mental health services board? Okay, great, thank you. That's perfect then.
Any other questions for Jeremy? We ready to vote? We'll start with Dan.
Yes. Sorry, I didn't realize I was muted.
Randy?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Shauna?
Yes.
I'm a yes, so that's unanimous. Thank you, Jeremy. While you're here, do you want to give a whole health report?
Sure. I have just a brief report. I'm filling in for Jenny today, but we are obviously excited to have Jenny on board, and she's moving rather quickly to get on board, get caught up, and move forward with us. So we're excited about that. We are in pretty deep budget conversations right now. This is our trying to find some savings wherever we can kind of time. So we're really evaluating every program and every dollar to see if we can do anything around the budget for 2026. And we are also spending a good amount of time implementing the safety team at Green Street. So that has become, that's come to the forefront, especially with the 5th floor now having 2 more programs in it. So we've been spending a good amount of time with new policy creation, procedural work, putting the tools in place, and Jamie and Mike Steitley have done amazing work for us. So I just want to point that out, that they really have tried to take into account how we treat clients and how we want clients to be treated when they walk through our doors. And Damien as well, who's in our lobby. If you ever meet Damien, I mean, he's doing an excellent job as being our public safety officer, but also our greeter now, right? Clients like him, staff really like him, and that part is going really well. So I just wanted to point that out. That would be my update.
Awesome. Any questions for Jeremy? Randy?
Hey, Jeremy. I'm trying to understand better how the accounting works in the various departments, and we're in kind of a decentralized system here. So you have your own accounting department and billing department and those types of things, and how do you audit that?
So it's program specific. So depending on whether it was on the public health side or the mental health side previously, we have to audit differently. And so we have several of our largest state reports are audited by ourselves internally on a monthly basis, but then we pay outside auditors, and that's just a state requirement. We can't provide the report without state auditors signing off on it, essentially. So where we spend the most money is audited by auditors. The rest, we have to keep track of every dollar, report on either monthly or quarterly to the state. And so, yeah, I've got a budget team, finance team, billing team, and they all have to work together at this point now that we're one as Whole Health. But yeah, I mean, we have a number of tools in place. I review everything monthly, and then I've got 3 staff that go through it with a fine-tooth comb, and then we essentially, we sort of have to have our own itemized set of books that we review and match to the county, because we have to itemize for the state on such a granular level that, you know, essentially the county system can't quite do that yet. But we always match it back to the county books to make sure that everything is good. And then we get responses back from the state around, why did you do this? Or, you know, what is this expense, all the way down to $100. So they look at us very carefully as well. That answers the auditing question. What was the other part of that question, Randy?
I think you answered most of it. So my question is, on the auditors, are they state auditors or are they somebody that we contract with?
We contract. We contract with them.
All right, great.
Yep.
That answers my question. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, any other questions for Jeremy? No? All right, thank you, Jeremy. We're going to move on to the Office for the Aging. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
We do have one resolution, and I'll give you an opportunity to share after that. Budget adjustment, Tompkins County Office for the Aging, funding extension to unmet needs, ID 13483. Do we have a mover? Amanda moves. Randy seconds. All right. And, we got to vote. Dan?
Yes.
No, we're not voting yet. Questions? Anybody have any questions? You want to share a little bit about this?
Sure. Well, as you may remember, we didn't receive our allocations for funding until very late for last year. We had a bunch of resolutions go before this committee and the legislature, I think it was in March, for 2024, and we had some increases. One of the programs being this unmet needs program. And we did our best to claim against the county side of expenses where we overmatch our funding. And didn't use it all, so we applied for an extension of those funds, and we were granted an extension to the end of September. So we're increasing for staffing and for some contracts to increase our contract with Law New York because we've already gone through our funding with them. And then also to sort of piggyback off of a state program, NYSOFA program called Go-Go Grandparent, which is a transportation program they were providing money for, which we've already run through our allotment. With our county, we were spending about $8,000 a month, and that ran out in the middle of July. So that's to extend this until the end of September.
All right, any questions? All right, we're ready to vote. Dan?
Yes.
Randy?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Shauna?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. That is a unanimous yes. Do you have anything to share?
I don't have anything.
All right, cool. Well, thank you. We
All right, thank you.
We do have a presentation from the Food Bank of the Southern Tier for the chair's report. You want to come on up? Any one of these? Talk right into the mic.
Might need some tech support. Here. Oh, I see it. Sorry. There we go. Okay. How's that?
We go.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for your time. I really appreciate it. My name's Sarah DeFrank. I'm from the Food Bank of the Southern Tier. I'm the Director of Policy, Programs, and Partnerships. I just wanted to provide an update for you all. I know that you've been really involved in supporting the work of the Food Bank in Tompkins County. So moving forward, I would say that today's goals for the presentation are to share new data about the food bank's impact in Tompkins County, to articulate the impact of the food bank's programs versus partnerships, and then also to gain a shared understanding of the benefits that the food bank partnerships in Tompkins County bring to the county, and share some highlights around our concerns and some risk analysis that we've been doing here at the food bank, not here, but at the food bank. So just briefly, the Food Bank of the Southern Tier has the mission of working together to build and sustain hunger-free communities. I know that many of you are really kind of aware of what we do already, but just to briefly describe, we're a part of a larger group of food banks in New York State. There are 10 food banks across the state. And then more broadly, nationally, we belong to the Feeding America Network, where there are over 100 food banks across the United States. In our service area, we serve Broome, Chemung, Tompkins, Tioga, Steuben, and Schuyler counties. And there are just some numbers around what folks are experiencing in what we're calling the Southern Tier. 70,000 food insecure folks, 1 in 5 children experience food insecurity. And last year we had a request for food at 1.7 million individuals. So, and of that, 590,000 were children. So those are staggering numbers. To move on, Tompkins partnerships and impact. I would just say we have a lot of partners here in Tompkins County in comparison to many of our other counties. We've got 19 pantries, 2 meal sites. As you know, we lost our shelter partnership, but I know people are very busy figuring that out. Our programs, we have 5 school food centers, thanks to all of you, 15 backpack programs, 1 mobile food pantry that's in Freeville, and 4 senior mobile food pantries. We also have a retail rescue program that's been growing, especially as we have hired a new individual to work that part of food rescue and sourcing. So we've gained 14 retail partners here in Tompkins County. And then, of course, we have transitioned to be the backbone support of Tompkins Food Future as Katie Hollis has joined the food bank team. Will be acting as the administrative backbone and ongoing collaborator, just as usual. Here is a list of all of our pantry partners. I don't expect you to read it all, but again, it's pretty impressive, and we're really proud of all of the work that our partners do, so I thought I'd list them out here for you. On to some of the data. What you'll see here is annual individual requests for food. So what that means is somebody calls or goes to a pantry and requests food. Those are duplicated numbers, but what we are seeing is that it is up 21% compared to 2023 and up 121% since 2019, which is a year that we use as kind of our last normal measurement before the pandemic. Oh. Nope. Sorry about that. And then we've got, let's see. I think that you're seeing something other than what I'm seeing, so hold on one second. All right. Tompkins service stats. So these are the big 3. Blue is pantry partners, the reddish color is community meal sites, and purple is MFP. And what you'll see is that these 2, the blue and the red, are growing. That means the need is rising. And the mobile food pantry, the reason that has dipped is because, one, we had a mobile food pantry that became an actual pantry, which is kind of our goal, is to move toward brick and mortar access for folks. So that's kind of a win. And then the other reason that it kind of holds steady is because we control the registration amount. So the requests for food are set by us and they don't kind of deviate much. In Tompkins County, pantries are up 20% compared to 2023. Meal sites are up 35% compared to 2023, meaning a lot of people are needing a meal that's prepared for them. And I kind of explained that, the purple line there. So the benefits of partnership, this is where we kind of get into the numbers and some projections around the impact that the food bank brings. The total value that the Food Bank of the Southern Tier provides to Tompkins County in 2024 for food and non-food programs, and I'll get into that in a second, through agencies and our programs is $4.68 million. And then there's another slide here that kind of just articulates some of the math that I'll go into detail in here in a bit, but the total cost to agencies is $390,000. And the average cost per pound of food is 11 cents. So not a bad number. This slide here kind of tells a story, and this is kind of the first layer. So what you'll see here is the value of product by source. So TFAP is the Temporary Emergency Food Assistance Program, and it's a USDA program, so that's a national program. And then we have our donated product. That includes the retail recovery that I had mentioned before. And then what you'll see there is the total pounds, which I think we should be very proud of, the value of the food, and the initial cost to agencies. I forgot about this click-through, but those are just the descriptions that I already read to you. On the next slide, we have state and local food grants. So the HIPNAP food grant is the Hunger Prevention and Nutrition Assistance Program. It's administered by the Department of Health, and it's valued, as it states, well, it's $350,000, but what you'll see is those two lines, the first and the second, are combined. So the legislative award can vary. And we also kind of don't know when that's going to be allocated. We get a first part in the beginning of the year, and then we get a second part in the middle of the year, but it's always a little bit touch and go, and people are waiting on it right now. And then the HIPNAP operation support and capital equipment is a pretty rigorous application process for our pantry partners to receive, like shelving, refrigeration, some kind of like maintenance, like utility bills, etc. The Nourish New York grant is one that we really enjoy spending and using. That is for to support local farmers in the state of New York, and it focuses on fresh produce, perishables, meat, cheese, eggs, dairy, things that people really, really want and need. Our Healthy Harvest program is an internal grant that we do every year, and that is, again, kind of just to bolster produce, local produce, so it's also a benefit and supports the local economies. And then obviously the Tompkins County grant that you all have awarded us, again, thank you very much. And then we have other community grants and internal food bank grants. Those are like home delivery grants, things that help folks get culturally relevant products to their pantries based on what their shoppers are asking for. So then we get into some math, and I won't bog you down too much because I think you get the gist. But what we do is we take the initial cost to the agencies, we subtract the food grants, and then that's how we come up with the actual cost to agencies, because we divide that by pounds. So if you can follow those little arrows, and if you have any feedback, please let me know at the end in terms of visual representation. So bottom line is the actual cost to agencies is $390,000 and the cost per pound is 11 cents. Just to get into the non-food grants a little bit more, again, I explained the HIPNAP operations support and capital equipment. What we're really proud of internally at the food bank is the equipment and repair grant. That is primarily for folks who might not have a staffer to write a really complicated grant, such as the HIPNAP operational support and capital equipment grant. So these are volunteer staffers who really need to get a new refrigerator, a new freezer, and they don't need to be bogged down by all of that administrative paperwork. The food bank created an equipment and repair grant. It used to be called the Emergency Cold Storage Grant. And this year we allocated $40,000. We used the local vendor here in Tompkins County, and the goal for that is really to ensure that our pantry partners can distribute perishable products. So if they don't have a refrigerator and a freezer that can meet the capacity and need, they're not going to be giving out the foods that folks really want. And the other grants, again, was kind of like home delivery stipends so that pantries could do home deliveries when their clients really needed that. And I keep doing that instead of what I'm supposed to be doing. Hold on. All right, so the big worksheet again, just to summarize with all of those different items, and then just moving on. This is focused on our programs, and I'll get into those in a little bit, but we've calculated the value of our programs in Tompkins County to equal $250,000. No cost to the participants other than obviously staffing, which is a large cost. So we have, again, one mobile food pantry. We have our senior MFPs. Those distribute products that are specific to senior nutrition. And also specific to what a 1 or 2 person household might want and need. So we're not giving them a large turkey. We're going to give them like a smaller kind of breast or an individual serving instead of a large like family-sized tub of something. We have the kids' farmers markets at various locations. These are very popular. Our backpack programs, and again, our school food centers. I did want to point out that TST BOCES will be having a grand opening at the end of next month, and I will extend that invitation to you all. We really would not have been able to do that without the legislative award that you granted us. And I will say that TST BOCES is one of the, I think, big wins for us because, as you know, kids come from all over and go back to all over the county. So we're really getting children and their families like who might need it. Thanks again. So the total value of the food and programs and partnerships provided through FBST is $4.6 million. I did want to just share this graph if those of you are more visual learners, just to look at the impact here. Total pounds is 3.6 million. Just to Tompkins County, and that equals 3 million meals. So I can celebrate that number. And then looking ahead, I know that I spoke to the legislature a while back talking about my concerns for the cuts in the One Big Beautiful Bill. Just wanted to remind everyone that SNAP is such an essential program. Monthly, I think this data is from the May OTDA caseload report. SNAP brings $1.5 million into Tompkins County, and that has an economic impact of $2.5 to $2.7 million. The math there is the assumption of the economic impact is $1.50 to $1.80 per SNAP dollar. So I'm sure if you were to talk to local grocers, they would tell you that this is also a really essential part of the local economy, as well as the best way to feed people. I just learned that we're getting a new NOEP, so I'm very excited to learn who that person is at Catholic Charities and be able to share that application assister's contact with our clients. Again, some of the newly added demographics to the timelines and work limit requirements. thumbs up if you've already heard this, but I did want to share it on a slide. Ages 55 to 64. We know that that is a group of folks who, sometimes it's hard to find a job, and there is ageism in the workforce, and so we need to really be mindful of that. Parents of school-age children 14 and older, again, there's some assumptions there that a 14-year-old and older might not need a parent's oversight after school, so that can be a challenging population. Of course, veterans, unhoused individuals, and former foster care youth are, trauma. There's a lot of trauma there. And so navigating the workforce as well as navigating SNAP work requirements is going to be an extra challenge, and the Food Bank of the Southern Tier is very concerned about those populations. And then, of course, the asylum seekers and refugees that have been kicked off entirely of this program is a huge concern of ours. So with that, we have been working at the food bank to look through how we're budgeting as well as how we're looking at risk. So we're doing some risk analysis. We have a really incredible financial guy there. I guess he's the VP of Finance. And he has been running us through different scenarios about how we might respond if the cuts to SNAP and cuts to Medicaid really do impact the lines of our pantry partners, which we do believe it will. So I just wanted to share that with you to let you know that we are thinking about this and taking it really seriously. And once we have some more findings, we can also share that out as well. I'm hoping that we will hear soon about the potential impact to the region on caseloads so that we can make some thoughtful and data-informed projections around what the impact might be. And then in terms of policy solutions and potential collaborations for the food bank and this body, I would say that, really encouraging state leaders to fund HIPNAP and Nourish New York. Obviously, there's a lot to work out around SNAP. Advocating for more no-ups, if not sustaining the ones that we have so there's less turnover. And, we do have some concerns around healthy school meals for all New York kids, and we know that there's been a huge increase in access to food for K through 12 students because of that program. So I do have time for questions, and I also wanted to just reiterate that we will be inviting you all to the ribbon cutting at TST BOCES for their school food center. Thank you.
Questions? Randy?
So for all the various food pantries, and there's a wholesale cost. So is that product that you're buying in wholesale, and then but of that total cost, only $390,000 is actually going to be charged to the various pantries and agencies?
That's right. That was the cost to the pantry partners for 2024. Okay. So aside from all of the other grants that were applied, the legislative monies that you shared, all of the other things that we can pull down, because essentially what we do is we apply all these grants to their accounts based on their service numbers. So a larger pantry that serves more people, that might be open more, they're going to get a larger allocation versus a smaller pantry, serves less people, less hours, they're going to get less. But last year, across the board, I don't know what the numbers for each pantry, but in total, our partners paid $390,000.
Okay. I know, of course, the Enfield pantry is super busy, and they've got a lot of volunteers. I was surprised when I went there. Must have been 20 people working there.
They have a really committed volunteer.
In this tiny little space.
Yes.
Really amazing what's going on there. But do they have to raise their own money to help pay for these things?
Every pantry is required to have a budget beyond what we provide. So you can't have a pantry and not have your own working budget. So what we try to provide is all of the grant funding that we can pull down from the federal, state, and local governments, as well as, local kind of community foundations and national as well. And then, they have to make decisions and try to balance their budget as well. And it's becoming more and more challenging. What we're seeing right now is because there are so many people attending the pantries, one pantry may have served 50 people 3 years ago. Now they're serving 150 people. So if it's a church pantry and their parishioners are using their tithings to kind of cover some of that budget, nobody's making more money to support that. And that's kind of the trend that we're seeing. So we are working hard to try to find more funding, but the need is increasing. And so that is the trend.
I actually got a 2-page written letter from a constituent a few weeks ago about, and she's retired and her partner is no longer on the earth. So she's living alone on fixed income, and how valuable the food pantry's been to her, and the cost of just everything, cost of utilities. I mean, she's unplugging everything she can unplug and trying to figure out in this house, trying to afford this house by herself with one income now, and it's a struggle. So she goes to the pantry twice a week.
Yeah, and one, I would say the pantries in Tompkins are so inviting and welcoming that I don't think even older folks who are just becoming new to food insecurity feel, it's difficult to go find food in a different way in which you've always kind of procured your food. But I do feel that they fall in very quickly to the kindness and customer service that's given in this area. But it is often kind of not thought about, we're not thinking about our elders and how they want to age in their own home and how the increase in costs are really affecting them. And so I'm glad that she wrote you, and I think it's definitely something that we need to start thinking about as more people are aging, how to make sure they know about these resources.
Yeah, you don't get many handwritten letters, 2 pages anymore. And she also mentioned that through the Office of Aging, she got help assistance to repair her furnace through HEAP, and so it's a challenge.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be, but.
Amanda?
Thank you so much, and thanks for the work you do. I was just curious where the donated food comes from. Who are your donors?
We have larger national donors, through our partnership with Feeding America. We also have more local donors. We have some relationships with local farms or semi-local farms outside of our service area, but they still give quite a bit. And then the donations come in from individuals as well. But yeah, the donated food is counted for the grocery rescue also, and those are our retail rescue partners. So Kathleen Passetti, who used to be a programs and partnerships coordinator here for Tompkins County, she took the retail rescue position, and she's really building a lot of relationships with every single grocer in this area that she can. And it's been pretty excellent. But again, a concern with the retail rescue piece is that as prices still increase, companies are going to start trying to shrink their overages.
Right.
So, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Any other questions? Yes, somebody I've been a partner through GIAC with the food bank for probably close to 22, 23 years now. When we started our meals program to feed dinner to our young folks every day, we wouldn't have been able to do it without the food bank. And I think this past year we served over 30,000 meals between the after-school program and summer camp. And without the food bank, it just doesn't happen. Most of our kids, 75, close to 80%, are free and reduced lunch. And I just don't think that average person understands the food insecurities and how these programs sustain so many people in this community. So thank you so much for the work that you all do.
Yeah, proud to do it, and thank you as well.
Thank you. Any further questions? All right. Thank you for coming and sharing. We look forward to that invitation. We have a few departments that got to give their updates. we can start with DSS. And Brittany.
Hello.
Hello.
So I do have shelter numbers for you today, so I'll give you those and then raise a question back to you. So currently at Roadway, we have 61 total. 43 of those are adults, and then 6 families with a total of 18 members. And then in other hotels within the county, we have 31 individuals, and then out of county, we currently have 2. Any questions on that?
Ready?
I'm put you in the spot here because you've been here a whole month, right? But are those numbers increasing or is it?
So the individual.
Individuals are about the same and families are decreasing.
Yep, individuals are about the same, and then the families are decreasing. So I mentioned this in a previous meeting that we have a caseworker who's working with the families that has been able to help get them into supportive long-term housing. Several of them.
I just want to say thank you. There was a gentleman that called a few weeks ago and lives at Asteri and was concerned because he was part of the STEP program and his housing was going to run out. And he joined us at our meeting last night and came up to me and was like, thank you, DSS was awesome. Great. I walked in there, they took care of me, and I think my housing's secured. So, you know, and he's an individual, a senior. It sounds like he's a really good tenant at Asteri, and those are the type of people that we want to, you know, be able to help and continue to help at Asteri. They need more, you know, tenants that are going to appreciate the housing and, you know, be a good citizen there.
Thank you. Yes, thank you for sharing that. So our staff will work with individuals who are at risk of losing funding to try and help either get additional funding or get them connected to local supports that can keep them in their housing.
I got a question.
Randy.
So as I was speaking to somebody yesterday who is in the process of becoming homeless, so he went to DSS and they said, well, and he's not going to be homeless till Friday because he's losing his apartment. And then he was told he's got to come back Friday because he's not homeless yet. So and I just wanted to share that. Is that really how it works? You can't fill out paperwork and apply till you actually are homeless?
So HUD does define literal homeless on their website as being you have to not be in housing. You have to be literally homeless. So I have to lean on Dina a little bit here because I'm still learning some of the stuff.
So for us to actually pay for the shelter, you do need to be literally homeless. So that's in fact true. I don't know if we can accept the paperwork ahead of time, and then if you were to show up on Friday, then we could just move them in. So that piece I'm not clear about, but we couldn't start paying for somebody to be in the shelter until they're truly homeless.
No, what do we? So my question I'm going to ask is, what do we do to help keep someone in their housing if they're at the risk of homelessness?
So if it's possible, we have funding where we can prevent evictions. So if somebody's coming in a little bit sooner than that, if we can, we have some funds through different streams that we can, it's usually only like up to 6 months rent, but we can pay arrears to prevent somebody from being evicted. We're looking at other options for them, places where they could move into. So if they are going to lose their current place and we can't pay the arrears, we can look and see if we can help them move into another place.
Yeah, and
in this particular case, he subletting an apartment or a room from a college student who's coming back. So that's and that was the agreement that they had, and it was cheap. So, but now he's not going to have that. So, okay.
Thank you for raising this. I will look more into some of the stuff that we have for supporting individuals who are at risk of this and what else we can do. So I've recently been working with community agencies to figure out how we can work together and what supports they have for when DSS is unable to help someone, whether that is because of regulations or because of the definition of someone's, the way that they receive a benefit. So in this instance, if they have to be literally homeless, then what else how can we work with other agencies to support the individual? Because DSS might not be able to pick them up until they reach that point, but how else can we kind of catch them before that happens? So, I just had a meeting with the Human Services Coalition, and they do provide eviction support as well, and trying to help mitigate that. So that's a way that we could collaborate, and just really working on relationships with community agencies to help catch people before they lose their housing, or when they lose their housing, they go into they go into new housing, and they're not left needing to seek shelter.
He didn't have anything negative to say about DSS, and he was told to come back Friday.
Yeah. We'll work on that.
So he's gonna. It seems like there would be the possibilities, and I use possibilities loosely, that if somebody in that situation could come in and be told that information. Look, this is kind of how the rules work. You got to come back when you are actually homeless. But here's the packet. Here's the information.
Yeah.
Or contact this number to this agency, and they can sit down and actually help you go through the packet so that on Friday when you come back, you can drop off your stuff versus pick up a packet and then sometime next week you make your appointment. I don't know if that's a possibility, but it would seem like it would alleviate some of that anxiety and stress for both that person and for you all. When the person comes back, they're ready to go. Maybe they're missing something, but they're not starting fresh at homelessness. They are coming in at homelessness with a packet. They may not get what they need that day, but it's certainly better than waiting a week or two as they go through that process. Shauna?
I think that's a great point, and I'm actually glad we're having the conversation, Randy, because I think your scenario happens so often. People know that they are going to be homeless as of a week out, and what happens is each day that comes closer, their anxiety builds, and they become more incensed because there's nothing they can do about it, And so I'm glad that you're at the table and we're talking about ideas that are kind of outside of the traditional box that weve had.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that's really important to be looking at other angles for how we can help individuals. I think it's a disservice that if we can't help an individual before they're actually homeless. What can we do to keep people in their housing? What can we do to support them? And maybe that's not something that my department can do based on like state regulations, but how can we think outside the box to work with other partners? Are there things available that we can do to catch people, right? Shelter is there, but shelter should be an emergency, and we want to catch people before they have to get to that point. So I think that's really important thing to focus on, and I will continue to learn more about this and bring it back to the committee.
Thank you.
Thank you. Other questions for?
I have a question for all of you. Because I'm new to the committee, my question for you is, I'd really like to know the kind of things that you would like to know when I come to present to committee. So DSS up to now has heavily focused on providing like shelter numbers and information about shelter, and I think that's important. But there's all these other parts of DSS as well. So I don't want to lose sight of DSS and the other impacts that it has on the community and things that we're doing. So you don't have to answer today, but if you could think about what you might want to know or have me present on, and see if that's something I can pull numbers and data or information for, I would like to do that.
Amanda?
Yeah, thanks for asking that question. That's a good question. I guess this just off the top of my head, like you said, like you have so many different programs, so many different things you're doing, so much staff. I mean, I wonder if it makes sense, and you can say no, but like at each meeting, you could just give like a 5-minute overview, like, hey, here's what the foster care program is doing this month. And, or if there's nothing specific, say like, here's how many folks we have in foster care, or, just like a little mini overview of one section. And then next month, you know, you talk about, here's what, you know, whatever somebody else is working on. And because I think that would sort of keep all these things sort of in a rotating queue on everybody's mind. Like, oh yeah, you do this other program. I haven't heard about that in 6 months, so I forgot, you know. I don't know. But, you know, brief, like not a big long presentation, but just like a sort of like constant reminder of like, here's all the things we're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a good point. Like the $25,000 we just received for supporting kinship and the training of like receiving training or receiving help towards being able to get their certification to be emergency placement, and that looks like the fire detectors or smoke alarms, fire extinguishers, things like that.
Yeah, I agree with Amanda. I think that's a great idea. I think we get so focused on homelessness and that part of DSS. And so there's almost always like this negative conversation. And there's a lot of families that are helped through the foster program. I went through the kinship training to become a foster parent, and it was an absolutely amazing experience. But unfortunately, it's like a hotel review. Not a lot of people, when they have a great stay, do the review. It's always people that are upset. So I think that there's ways for people, for you all to talk about some of the great things that are happening and some of the other needs, like the foster situation. How many teens right now are waiting for foster families, right? Like this is a great place to talk about that and bring those issues up. So something that's rotating, you know, highlighting some of the good things that are happening in other programs at DSS, because there's a lot of good work and hard work that's done there, and people should hear about it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Randy?
Yeah, I agree with all that. One of course, we just had a SNAP presentation, and those rules are changing, and it'd be nice to know what that true impact is as it goes along. And I know that Kit mentioned at the last meeting that the federal regulations on accuracy was changing, meaning how the accuracy of the actual applications, and also she mentioned that if you are undocumented, if you're not a U.S. citizen, that they're just not going to pay for SNAP at all, right? And so how do they even know that? So I guess it must go through a federal system somehow, and they must be doing AI or whatever to figure that out. But are we at risk of approving those applications and then not getting reimbursed? So that's a big question. So at some point, it'd be, before all that crashes on us, it'd be nice to know more about what really is happening. So.
Absolutely, and we can provide more information on the SNAP. So they are working on, the state overall is working on correcting the payment error rates, and we can provide more information on what that would mean for Tompkins County specifically. The state hasn't provided a whole lot of information on SNAP and what we can expect, so it's not concrete yet. So there are a lot of unknowns about that, but I will say with the food bank that when the families and individuals who lose their SNAP, they're going to start relying more on the food bank. You know, that SNAP is really that first line of defense for individuals who need money to buy food. So as they start to lose that, we'll be relying more on community partners, local funding. Yeah, I think it's important to bring that to the table and have a bigger conversation about it when we have more concrete information and even some of the unknowns right now, but we do know it will have a significant impact.
Right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Brittany and Dina. We're going to move on to Veterans Affairs. J.R. Claiborne.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. Hello.
Okay, good. You can hear me. All right. Yeah, thank you, Chairman Brooks, for the intro. I just want to share, thank you. It's good to be back. I know I missed last month, so I appreciate your sharing my update with the committee. Just want to kick off with a couple of outreach events we had. They were kind of special because it was the first time we've gotten invitations from these folks, but Visions Credit Union they hosted the Army's Fort Drum's Bases Band, and I made that an outreach event, as well as this was on a Friday, and on a Saturday, we had we did outreach at Borg Warner's Employee Family Fun Day. And this was their first one, we understand, since COVID. This was an annual tradition that COVID stopped and they restarted it. So it was good to be part of that group. I also want to add that we are embarking on a new collaborative relationship with the Veteran Colleagues Network group at Cornell. And this is a group that's made up of faculty and staff there at the university. We have our Tompkins County Women Veterans Group. That's monthly. Michelle Baker, our information aide, turned that into a meetup, is what she calls it. And we've actually been building momentum with it. Our event last month, we had a dozen women veterans show up, and that was building on what we had the previous month. So we like that this has it's gone from having a few people show up in the room to now we're almost crowded in our space, in our conference room at our headquarters. Also, normally during the summer, Warrior Writers Tompkins group normally takes a break during the summer. This year, the guys wanted to keep meeting, so instead of our normal sessions, our normal bi-weekly sessions, we've had breakfast. They've had breakfast at different times for a monthly meeting. And so this has been good because it's just been a time for the guys to get out, just really have a good time to just fellowship. It gets them together, gets them out of the house, lets them just enjoy the company of other veterans. And I say it all that way because this is something that's been supported by the PFC Joseph P. Dwyer Peer Support Grant, which is something that comes to my department through mental health by the state. And it's specifically for keeping veterans out, having them do things that break isolation with the ultimate goal of preventing suicide. So anything that we can do that supports our veterans coming together, this has been important to be able to support this through the grant. Lastly, we had, I don't know if those of you have seen the kiosk, if you've been up to the airport, there's a kiosk that's been there. It's New York State's. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down. But in collaboration with Tyrone Fish, who is the Terminal Services Coordinator, as well as Shane Murray, who is the IT person with New York State's Department of Veteran Services, we figured it out. We got it going, it's up and going, and we've checked it periodically. I've gone up there myself to make sure, and it is going full blast, both sides of the screen. So there's information there that now anybody who visits will see a host of things that come through the state, and I'm working on getting our information put in rotation on the screens there as well. So that's everything now. I do look forward to having a much greater report for you in October, as Veterans Week will be celebrated that next month in November.
Any questions for JR? Thank you for your report, JR. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
We're going to slip over to the County Youth Bureau with Teresa.
Hi. Just briefly, Kate wanted me to mention that several entities together, Probation, the South Side, who was the lead, Mona, us, and several others, together we met and they put in a transformative Youth Justice Hubs grant. We were notified that we were not invited to move further with it. But my understanding is that they either will be meeting with us or sending details on why, suggestions on what could change, how we can make changes for maybe a future grant. But Kate just wanted me to mention that, and that's all I have.
I really appreciate Kate's support and all the hard work she did to bring everybody together. It was a pretty fast turnaround, and she had a lot of us in the room pretty quickly. She was doling out responsibilities and making it happen. And it was cool to see. It's unfortunate that we didn't get that far, but it was nice to see all the different organizations working together to try to bring those funds into this community to make that happen. And I really appreciate Kate spearheading that. So please tell her thank you for me.
I will. And my understanding is, as well, is that people agreed and they would like to continue to meet together as time goes on, even without the grant. So
That's awesome. Yeah, it's a really good idea. It's a really good idea. Any questions for Teresa? No? All right. Thank you, Teresa.
thank you.
And last but not certainly least, we have HSC with Cindy, who's here with us.
Here. Hi.
Come on
I'm
up.
good. I'm good. I'm okay.
I'm gonna come up anyway. You mind?
Okay, all right, I'll come up. Hold on.
Get over here.
Sit in my friend Mike's chair. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
I have just a couple of program updates. HSC has been very busy these days, trying to kind of stay ahead of the information overload around the federal situation. So we are trying very hard to keep the network of community organizations informed, as well as you all. Some of you have received some emails from us kind of outlining some of the potential implications of some of the federal cuts. So, and also in response, we're trying to be responsive programmatically as well. So we've reached out to the executive directors of organizations, kind of offering assistance, consulting services around scenario planning, planning in general for how to try to prepare as much as possible for what's coming to our social safety net. We have a bunch of workshops coming up in the fall that are around kind of change management, leading through change, stress management in your staff. So we're trying to kind of work with the leaders, but also give them tools to help them manage through some things that are coming up. On the health side, we're involved with the Medicaid 1115 waiver, as many of you know, and that has been an interesting experience. The Medicaid 1115 waiver, for those of you who don't know, is exactly what it sounds like. Medicaid, the state has negotiated a waiver to Medicaid to pilot an investment in services that Medicaid doesn't traditionally cover, things like rental assistance and medically tailored meals and transportation to grocery stores and places like that to keep people healthy, because we all know that health is not just clinical health, it's holistic, right? So food, housing, and transportation services have been enhanced under this waiver. So we are both a kind of coordinator of that in certain ways, and then also a provider of some of those services, primarily in the housing space and transportation space. So I am super happy that Brittany had mentioned that earlier. We had a great conversation with Brittany. She came to visit HSC just yesterday, and we have already identified a lot of opportunity for better collaboration in a lot of areas where we overlap or we can complement each other. So it was great. And I think those are the highlights. Questions for me?
Is there any questions for Cindy? No? That is all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are going to go into exec session in accord.
Hang on.
Oh,
I have a committee member report.
my bad, I'm sorry.
Follow the agenda here, boss.
Boss, okay, all right.
I had the opportunity, today's kind of a food day for me, I guess. I went to Meals on Wheels this morning and I scooped a lot of food. We legislators and anyone is all invited. I know Corsa also visited there last week, maybe. And I had a great time. What an amazing group of folks. I scooped broccoli and, no, cauliflower and kale, and they have this whole lineup where, you know, people are just scooping into little things and moving them down, and they have these cool slammer things that they wouldn't let me use, and that seal each meal, and just a really wonderful group. They all seem to be happy about what they're doing, and, you know, somebody said, even if it's a hard day or there's hard stuff coming down the pike from other, you know, upper level governments, at least we know these people got a meal today. And, you know, they send out 300 meals plus, you know, folks know about that, but the congregate sites and all of that. But I really appreciated having the chance to participate, and I highly encourage my colleagues, if you have not been, you can go there for a couple hours, help scoop, or you can ride along in one of the trucks for deliveries. It was a great experience. So thanks to them for letting me do that.
That's awesome. So mark your calendar. This is just for you, Amanda. The Friday before Thanksgiving, we do our Harvest Fest.
Okay.
And so we do need scoopers. We
I
do
like
about
scooping.
1,000 meals.
Okay.
And so I'm always looking for folks that enjoy scooping.
The Friday before?
Friday before.
I
Yep.
will scoop.
All right. Anybody else can come help too. But you, mark your calendar.
Okay.
Is there any other committee member reports or sharing? Okay. In accord with Article 7, Section 105 of the Public Officers Law, executive session is only appropriate for the discussion of, in this case, F, the medical, financial, credit, or employment history of a particular person or corporation, or matters leading to the appointment, employment, promotion, demotion, discipline, suspension, dismissal, or removal of a particular person or corporation. Do I have to do the motion? Can I have a motion to go into exec session? Randy? Amanda seconds. Dan? Yes? No?
Yes.
Randy? Yes.
Sorry, I keep forgetting that I'm muted every once in a while. I apologize.
Amanda?
Yes.
Shauna?
Yes.
And I'm a yes.
Do you need DSS?
No? You.
Thank you.